Sports Talk 916 with Greg Bull and Coach Greg Veroza.
If you'd like to participate in this show and listen live, there's a number of ways to do it. You can go to the Mixlr app, or you can follow us on Facebook Live every Sunday. You can also go on the wildfireradio.com website and listen to us Tuesdays at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific. And if you want to contact us, head over to our website at sportstalk916.com. There you'll find all of our social media feeds, bonus after-hours content that you won't hear anywhere else. Well, good afternoon. Why do I say that? Good morning. Good morning. Early Sunday morning edition of Sports Talk 916. My name is Coach Greg. Over there, my buddy, Mr. Chief, Greg Bull.
What's up?
And together, we're the two-headed monsters of Greg that we call Sports Talk 916.
We are.
And by the way, our 9 o'clock is really 9:07.
Right.
But nobody, TJ, shut up.
We run on the morning, mid. We're right between Hawaii and California time. We're out in the ocean.
Well, I have that T-shirt that says I'm not late, I'm on Hawaiian time. And I've always thought that, not because they're 2 hours behind, but they're just always late.
Right.
So.
I'm on my mother-in-law time is what I should get.
Oh, really?
What's up,
So
bud?
episode 233 and a half, 234, something like that?
What, something.
We never
we're episode 5 on Wildfire. Let's go with that.
Yeah, there you go. And it was a crazy week.
Yeah?
A lot of stuff going on. A lot of crazy games yesterday. A lot of little pieces of news here and there. And I'm looking forward to today. I didn't get to watch much football yesterday. I was in a conference with about 50 swim coaches from Sacramento. So it was for me, it was a good time. For most people, it would have been boring as shit.
Yeah, not a lot for me. Just a normal week, getting ready for to up my training and different stuffs for my upcoming races and whatnot. But it's just another week, another fun one. We're ready to get going today. Get this out of the way so we can watch some football. We can do some things. So today's gonna be 98% football.
Okay.
We're gonna start with our idiot Sacramento Kings making a move yesterday that.
Where the hell did that come from?
Who the hell knows? No one knows. No one understands it, but it's the way of the Sacramento Kings.
God.
Then we're going to talk about the reports coming out of New England, see if there's any life to those, see if you have any feelings on that. We'll talk a lot of John Gruden and if he's worth $100 million.
Hint.
Which, we'll pretty much agree that that's not going to be the case. And we'll discuss Wildcard Day 1, Wildcard Day 2, and we'll, fill up the space at the end. So, first and foremost, the Sacramento Kings.
Dummies.
Their front office is comprised of essentially rookie everybody's, right?
Well, they're not rookies anymore.
Okay.
They're not rookies anymore.
Newbie everybody's. Let's call it that.
First-timers.
First-timers. Except one guy.
Who's been there since
the turn of time.
Yeah.
And, well, there was two. Scott Perry was there. He left. And Mike Bratz has been there. He's been the assistant GM, the head of scouting, basically the backbone, the procedural genius behind Vlade Divac, right? Vlade's a first-time GM.
He's the one that kind of bridged the gap between from the time that Petrie was here until Vlade took over. I mean, he was the one that was here the whole time, had the experience, had the front office, knowledge that you need to be effective that a lot of newbies wouldn't have.
Yep, and yesterday the Sacramento Kings announced that they have parted ways. Well, it was first reported that they have fired Mike Bratz, and then the Kings come out and say, oh, well, we agreed to part ways. We wish him well, but he's no longer around.
I always say he was invited to leave.
Yeah, pretty much. So
he was invited to leave.
So with that being said, what the hell... Did Vlade learn enough in a year and a half or 2 years that you can get rid of the guy that's been around doing this role for 20?
I wonder if Bratz just stood up to Vlade and said, "Look, you're not doing what you need to be doing the right way."
Maybe.
And it was just time for him to go.
TJ, with the fact of the day that nobody else in this world knows, Mike Bratz was the last player to wear number 23 in Chicago before Michael Jordan.
Nice.
Again, a fact that nobody on this planet knows except for TJ Longacre. Good job.
Where do you get this shit?
That's why he's TJ the Sports Geek, dude.
Right.
But yeah, so is this another step backwards for the Kings and the Vivek Ranadive
I'll say
era?
he's an idiot.
It's hard to tell. I mean, you're not going to be able to tell for another, 6-8 months, maybe a year. It's definitely not a step forward. It might be a lateral step.
But how many lateral steps can the Kings make before they just fall off the table?
Well, they keep doing it, and they keep falling off the table. God damn it! I've been a big defender of Lottie. I've been a big defender of Jaeger. I've been
Jaeger.
Jaeger.
Is that
Jaeger? Whatever. Shut up.
Is that Bethard's cousin?
Yeah, it is.
All right.
It's Sunday morning at 9:08,
Right.
9:10.
It's 916 right now. 916.
Oh wow. I've been a big defender of those guys, but I'm starting to lose faith.
Well, that's why you don't have season tickets anymore. It's
Yeah.
because you've lost that faith.
And that's true. I've been a season ticket holder since 2002, so 15 years, and finally decided this year that I'm turning them in. No more. It's first, I don't go to many games. I go to like 10 games a year.
Right.
Secondly, the games I can't go to, I either have to give them away for free or I have to eat them. And there's no resale value to them.
High fiber diet right there.
Yeah, right? They're all digital, so it's eating a whole lot of nothing. And I can, if I want to go to a game, I can go online and buy tickets cheaper than what I pay for them. So why pay for them?
Well, and that's the problem.
And I get I get a little cowbell at the beginning of the year as a thank you gift.
Can I have one of your cowbells from the inaugural year?
I don't have it.
You didn't get the silver cowbell from the inaugural Golden 1 year?
Oh, I have it somewhere. I have to find it. It's probably in storage.
We were just in your storage. We could have found
How much you gonna give me for it?
I don't know. High five and handshake? No, we'll figure something out. I just wanted that for my collection with all the crap we did for this damn team to watch them win 8 games.
I'm starting to buy into the guys who don't like Jaeger's rotation. And
hey, last week I asked you about that, and you're like, "No, I give him a pass."
No,
this
but
year.
I didn't say I was. I said I'm starting to.
All right. Well, either way, that's our Sacramento.
Hey,
Kings.
I'm a Kings fan. I can flip flop whenever the fuck I want.
It's true. New England Patriots, obviously or arguably the dynasty of the past decade, right?
That's not the one I wanted.
Doesn't play for.
I'll say he's an idiot.
Never mind.
What were you looking for? Just tell me. I can tell you for it.
Oh no.
ESPN 30 for 30 music.
This is stupid. I want to talk about vaginas.
That's what I wanted.
That is a good one. New England Patriots, there's a report that's coming out from NBC Sports, or I'm sorry, ESPN, that there's a rift in New England between Belichick, Brady, and Kraft. And there was a lot of talk before this story came out about the Patriots and how much longer were they going to have Tom Brady? Was this going to be his last hurrah? Were they going to, have a one and done run? He's going to be 40 next. He'll be 41 next year. What were they going to do about him? And a lot of the talk was, well, they have Jimmy Garoppolo waiting in the wings. Like, they're going to start pushing for it. And the report indicates that they had a meeting, and why a quarterback's in the meetings is beyond me, but a meeting between Brady, Belichick, and Kraft, and other front office people. And basically it was that the Patriots, and when I should say it differently, Belichick wanted to extend Jimmy Garoppolo. 4-year deal, about $18 million a year to lock him up and keep him in New England. He's been groomed. He's ready. He knows the system. And there was fear amongst Brady and Kraft that Belichick, after this playoff run, was going to start pushing that envelope and trying to get rid of Tom Brady to let Garoppolo take the reins. The idea was you extend him, you play him. You don't just let him sit on the bench for $17 million a year. Well, apparently that hurt Tom Brady's feelings because he went to Robert Kraft, and again, this is all based on a report from ESPN, and basically said, hey, I'm still playing. I don't like the idea that you guys are looking to replace me. What's going on here? Well, Robert Kraft gets on the phone with Belichick and says, trade Jimmy Garoppolo. We're not extending him. Get rid of him. And that's when the phone call to the San Francisco 49ers occurred. And it was, from what I heard, and this wasn't in the report, but I saw other rumblings on social media, was the initial thing from Kraft was trade him to Cleveland. And that's where that Cleveland tidbit that we got a couple weeks ago that said that Belichick was like, look, I'm not going to trade the guy to Cleveland. That's why I called San Francisco. He had enough respect for Garoppolo to say, I'm not going to sabotage your career. I'm going to give you a chance. Kraft wanted him to go to Cleveland. He basically wanted to bury Jimmy Garoppolo. That way no one could come back and say, we told you so. You shouldn't have got rid of the guy. And now there's a little rumbling out of San Francisco that says, hey, they might have made a mistake trading him for a second-round pick.
Yeah, I think.
Well, there was also reports that Belichick may be ousted if they don't win a Super Bowl this year because of this rift. Obviously, the Patriots have come out and said this whole thing is BS. Nothing's going on. What do you take of it? Do you feel that Belichick's days could be numbered in New England even if they win the Super Bowl this year, that his days could be numbered?
Well, I think that if they are numbered, it's not going to be him getting fired. It's going to be him
mutually part ways.
No, it's going to be him going.
Yeah,
F you.
Pretty much.
We all know that everybody knows that Belichick's like Bill Walsh was. It's better to get rid of a guy 1 year too early than 1 year too late.
Right.
And with somebody like Brady, he's not going to see that his not that he's declining now.
No, not at all.
No. But
which is amazing.
Yeah. But at some point he's going to go from, like Peyton Manning did. He's going to be going from one of the top quarterbacks ever to Joe quarterback that should be sitting on the bench.
Yeah, middle of the road. Like,
yeah,
you probably wouldn't start for half the teams in the league, but you're
Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. Yeah. So Brady knows this, and he knows how Belichick works, and he's going to say he knows that his days are numbered just because he's 41, and Belichick would rather get rid of him a year before he's Peyton Manning than a year after he becomes Peyton Manning.
And here's the deal too. Now, let's say New England wins the championship this year, right? Because let's be real, they have a very, very good shot to win the Super Bowl again. Tom Brady just goes, you know what? I'm going out on top. I'm done. I'm retiring. I've won 2 Super Bowls in a row. This is my 5th ring, right? It'd be his 5th. No other quarterback in the history has had 5 rings. I'm done. I'm not going to tarnish my legacy. What's New England do? I mean, they don't have a quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback.
They have Brian Hoyer.
And to be honest with you, I don't see that happening. The scenario I see happening.
Hey, Kelly. Good morning.
The scenario I see happening, and a lot of it's tied around something that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. And I can see Belichick going, if John Gruden can get $100 million,
yep,
how much can I get? And I heard that
it would be, oh shit, CJ's right. It would be his 6th ring. Brady would have 6.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I heard that they were talking about this morning on Game Day. What would happen if Belichick quit, sat out a year? What do you think the bidding war?
I don't even think he's going to quit. I don't even think he's going to sit out a war.
And I just had this thought. There's one guy that could pay that.
Who's that?
Jerry Jones.
No, it's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now.
So what I'm saying is there's one guy that if he went and said, I want 10 years, $200 million, that I could see Jerry Jones saying, come on down.
Let me put it this way.
And the only thing it's going to take, though, is Jerry Jones swallowing his pride, because Belichick's not going to go for somebody that's going to buy their groceries for him to cook.
Exactly. So that's why I don't think that happens in Dallas. Jerry Jones wants to run his team. He won't let Belichick come in there.
But Jerry also wants to win, and he hasn't won yet.
He hasn't proven he wants to win because he keeps bringing back Jason Garrett. So he's hit his head too many damn times. Here's what I think is going to happen. Draft's going to roll around this year. That $100 million that John Gruden got, by the way, not warranted. We'll get to that in a little bit. Is going to entice a lot of NFL owners, because if Mark Davis can find $100 million to pay a quarterback, There's plenty of a coach. There's plenty of other owners in this league that are going to find a way to pull that kind of money out of their ass to pay a coach.
Yeah.
And I think, and if this happens, I'm going to go play the lotto, but I think there's a very high likelihood that this happens. The Cleveland Browns are going to offer their first round pick to New England for the rights to Bill Belichick.
Wow.
And they're going to extend him on a $150 to $200 million contract and give him the entire reins to the team. Coach, GM, personnel guy, whatever you want, you get.
I can see that.
There's
a tie.
He used to be there.
Yeah.
Bring back the Browns to a winning franchise and cement your legacy as the greatest coach in NFL history. Because, and TJ, I don't think it'll be the number 1 overall pick. I think it'll be the number 4 pick. It's still a top pick that the Patriots are not going to have.
Right, and they could get a quarterback.
They could get a quarterback. They could get Darnold, or they can get, what's his name? The other dude. Rosen at 4.
Nah, neither one of those guys is going to be there at 4.
Then maybe the Browns look at it and go, you know what?
No, but you know what? Brady was a 6th-round pick, and he wasn't really somebody that was there.
No, but that was a flash in the pan.
But there's a couple of guys out there. There's a kid from Wyoming that's really good.
But maybe the Browns look at it and go, you know what? If we can get a guy like Belichick, we don't need the 1st pick. We'll take the 4th pick. Give New England the number 1 pick. Because they're about to lose. Let's say they lose Brady, right? Or maybe Brady doesn't play as well under a different coach that he does with Belichick. Who knows? But it's a gamble. I can see Cleveland going all in on it because they just had a fucking parade for going 0 and, well, they didn't. Fans did, for going 0 and 16.
Yeah.
Right? And that, or Detroit's going to get in the mix, and Detroit's going to throw 150 millions and Lake Erie at Belichick. You know
no,
what I mean?
the other team I could see doing it again. It's got a strong leader already, but that's Denver.
I don't think. Yeah, maybe, but I think Belichick wants something that he's going to go from the gutter to the golden goblet. He's going to want someone that's terrible, and he wants to try to. If he does leave New England,
Denver's not terrible.
They're not Cleveland or Detroit terrible.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Detroit's not Detroit terrible.
Yeah, but Detroit's Detroit, so we'll see what happens. But I can see something big happening, and I think that John Gruden literally paved the way for someone to get paid. The other name to watch, and I'm going to say it right now, Tuesday morning, Monday night, start looking for rumblings. Nick Saban's NFL itch is going to be increased just a little bit. If Gruden, who's been out of the league for 10 years, gets $100 million, a guy like Nick Saban he's like John Calipari. He's rumored every singe damn year to be making the jump to the big league.
But he's done it before, and he washed out. He was horrible. Yeah, but
so did Pete Carroll. And look what Pete Carroll did. Yeah. So I think you're going to see someone like Nick Saban going, all right, you know what? I just won a national championship because I don't think Georgia's going to knock off Alabama. I hope they do, but I just don't see it. He's going to walk around with that trophy, and he's going to go to Detroit. He's going to go to the Giants. He's going to go to Cleveland, holding the trophy in one hand and a paper with his rowdy number on the other, and go,
just direct deposit.
Yeah, just put it all in. I'm good. Let's go. And it's Harrison went to New England. Now Belichick is coming to Pittsburgh. You know what, Adam? You're not. I wouldn't be shocked because
I would. He would never go to Pittsburgh. They're not going to get rid of
Tomlin. I don't know that Tomlin is in proper favors with everybody. I mean, he's doing all right, but the thing is, I saw reports the other day that who was it? What quarterback was it? It wasn't Eli. It was another big name quarterback that's going to be on the market possibly, going in and being the next quarterback in Pittsburgh, because there's a lot of people that don't have favor that Roethlisberger is going to not play next year.
Drew Brees?
No, it wasn't Brees either. Oh, it was okay. Never mind. It was during the whole. There's still a lot of people that don't think Roethlisberger is going to play another year because he's been kicking the retirement train now for 2 or 3 years. Keep dropping hints, but it was when the whole thing going on with Aaron Aaron Rodgers, if they were going to have to release Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, because of the whole IR thing.
I could see that.
Him going to Pittsburgh and being the next
see that.
quarterback. Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers with Antonio Brown? Good Lord. Adam would never leave his house because he would have a permanent hard-on.
So would Jogenitis.
Oh, shit. Keith would never leave his house either. Pittsburgh has had 3 coaches in 49 years. They're too much of a model of consistency.
Yeah, they're not going to. I don't see them firing the coach.
But, there's a lot of speculation. But, it all starts now, like I said, with John Gruden. And we're going to talk about that real quick after we hear from a couple of our sponsors who are online and listening. Hey guys, I'm excited to announce a new partnership with Antonio Pacheco from Folsom Lake Ford. Tony has been my go-to sales guy for a number of years, and he's come on board to bring the awesome sales buying experience to each and every one of you. All of his information is on our website at sportstalk916.com, but if you're in a hurry and you're looking for a new car, give him a call today. Antonio Pacheco, area code 530-218-7069. He will answer all of your questions in regards to the car buying experience. And he is the main guy that I trust in the Sacramento area for all of your car buying needs. Again, Antonio Pacheco, Folsom Lake Ford, 530-218-7069. Yep. So, John Gruden. The Raiders made it official last night because ESPN basically took their thunder during the broadcast during the game. They opened the game last night with a congratulations to Gruden.
I didn't see the game.
This will be your final game. Congratulations on going back to Oakland. And Gruden's like, whoa. It's not official yet. And they kept referencing it the whole game, and he stopped saying it wasn't official. And then right when the game concluded and they did their sign-off on ESPN, it was almost instantaneous that the Raiders announced officially that they've hired John Gruden as their next head coach. 10 years, $100 million. What was your initial response to that? Or not response. What was your initial thoughts behind that?
Well, when I first heard that they were going to hire him, it was like, that's cool. Then I started thinking about it. The guy hasn't been in the league in 10 years, even though he's been involved in the league. And we've seen announcers come out of the booth and be great general managers.
Yep.
John Lynch. Great coaches.
Oh, so you're going to give me one of them?
No, because I can't think of one right now. But it's Gruden. And I think that in the 10 years that he hasn't been coaching, I think he's become his image, his reputation has become a lot bigger than what it really was.
Yeah.
Gruden was a good coach. He wasn't a great coach.
He was probably one of the more overrated coaches in football history. I mean, the numbers don't even lie about that. I'll let you finish your thought, but then I have a whole gamut of numbers here that do not show him as an elite coach.
He had a great look. He was great to watch on the sidelines.
He also had bad luck. Tuck rule.
Yeah. He's just, I just think that he's people are going back to what they thought they remembered him as, not what he really was.
Right.
And knowing Davis doesn't care about winning. He doesn't. He doesn't care about winning at all. I think Davis went, I can get John Gruden. How many butts is that going to put in the seats? Because all the Raider fans who've been begging and begging and begging for Gruden to come back every time there's a job opening, especially with the Raiders, we're getting Gruden back. We're getting Gruden back.
Yep.
We're getting Gruden back. And I think they're the ones that have built up that image of him that doesn't exist anymore, or that never existed. He's this big super coach.
If they could, the Raiders fans would have built a statue of him outside.
Right.
And he didn't do anything.
He didn't. He took, and I'm sure I'm going to steal some of your numbers, but he took Tony Dungy's team and beat his old team because he knew the signals, because they weren't smart enough to change the signals, and that's why they won the Super Bowl.
They weren't smart enough to change a coach on that staff except for the head coach. Bill Callahan's just slid in.
Yeah.
He was already on the staff.
And it was all Gruden's system.
Yep.
So, of course he was going to beat him. He knew exactly what they were going to do.
Yeah, we'll get to that too. But,
So, anyway, I think when you get back the whole Chucky persona, him getting in there and playing quarterback during running the scout team and all that stuff, Raider fans have been looking for something to latch on to for 15 years, and now they can do it. And I think I hate to break it to you, Raider fan. I think you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, finish the show with your thoughts on AFC NFC championships. Who goes to Super Bowl 52? Yeah, Adam, that's how we are going to finish the show this week. So John Gruden in his time with Oakland was decent. He was good, 38-26. His highest win season was a 12-win team in 2000. Obviously, in 2002 season, he took that team to New England in the AFC Championship game. That was the infamous Tuck game. But he was 2-2 in the playoffs with Oakland. Never got past the AFC Championship game. Then he goes to Tampa Bay, and as you said, he took over Tony Dungy's team and got to the Super Bowl. That team was built off of an amazing... Oh, hold on. Back to Oakland. He took a team with Rich Gannon, Tim Brown, and a very established team that he had a part in building and made that team very good. But then, like I said, they kind of floundered. I don't know what the demise of John Gruden... Oh, they traded John Gruden. They ended up trading him to Tampa.
Right.
And then he goes to Tampa. Tony Dungy's team takes over. And Tony Dungy left because of health issues that year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes into that team, and he was 12-4 that first year. Went to the Super Bowl. Played his old team. Literally. I remember reading something that he stood on the sideline and didn't even call plays into Brad Johnson was their quarterback, I believe. Didn't even call plays until he stood on the sideline and watched the Raiders coaches call their plays, and then he would radio in the offensive plays. Like, they were... Oh, Dungy was fired. I thought it was a health thing.
I thought it was a health thing, too.
So they would line up in a mock formation that showed the defense what they were doing. They would call their play, and then he would go, all right, they're in a man zone. We're going to go ahead and do this. And they would do it, and it would work. And that's pretty much how they called the game, because he knew everything that was going on. They ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. But after the Super Bowl, this is where I scratch my head and I go, where the hell does $100 million come from? They were 45-51, and they lost every playoff game that they were in. They never got past the wild card round. Where does that justify a $100 million contract, Oakland? In his career, he was 95-81, which is not an elite coach, and 5-4 in the playoffs. Yet he just got a 10-year, $100 million coaching job with Oakland. Now, like we said, he was away from football for 10 years. He had the resources. What's up, John? He had the resources. That's John from Wildfire.
Oh, hey, John.
He had the resources to basically pick the brain of anybody and everybody in football.
Right.
He had access to a ton of people when it came to learning new systems, figuring things out. You know, like, he has the ability, and I think he's one of the few guys that he will adapt and he'll build something based off of that. I mean, he literally could have just been sitting back for 10 years building a system from, you know, part of Kyle Shanahan's offense and part of, you know, Dick LeBeau's defense and part of Bill Belichick's system. And, you know, he could have literally Frankensteined up a system that may work. And I'm not saying that Oakland is doomed. He may come in and that team may be amazing. And they may win a Super Bowl before that they go to Vegas. And that's just going to make Vegas that much happier. But at the same time, it's a risky gamble putting that much money into a coach that hasn't coached in 10 years. Now, we typically like to trash the Raiders fans or the Raiders because, you know, it's our job. We're Niner fans, right? They're about to lose their team. I hope deep down somehow that we get that dream Super Bowl that we've been talking about. Niners, Raiders in the Super Bowl before they
That'd be
leave
awesome.
For Vegas. I think that would be fantastic. A battle of the Bay right before they go. We have 2 years to do it. Both teams are in a position that they could possibly begin to contend, especially if the Niners, you know, have a good offseason like they had last year now that we have our quarterback. Who knows? But I just think that it's going to end a lot worse than people are anticipating.
I do too.
And what's funny too is John Gruden. They've been saying that he's a genius scout, right? He's a mind of football that's gonna bring the Raiders back to the glory days. I have a couple screenshots here from the last couple of years of John Gruden being a scout. I'm just gonna read these to you, and so I'm gonna give you this right here, right? So you have the bingo button and you have the bullshit button. These two brown ones.
Okay.
You tell me if he was right or wrong on these. All right. According to 3 sources, and this is back in 2014, John Gruden spent round 1 of the draft imploring the Raiders to draft Johnny Manziel.
Bingo.
That was bingo. That I'm sure he did it.
No,
what
you
I
messed it up. Damn it, Veroza.
That it was a stupid idea.
Not good. This one from 2016. John Gruden just said on ESPN that Michigan State's Connor Cook is going to be perhaps the best quarterback of this draft. John Gruden is comparing, this is 2016, I believe also. John Gruden is comparing Paxton Lynch to the next Cam Newton. Let's see here. Cam Newton was an NFL MVP. Paxton Lynch lost his starting job to Trevor Siemian this year. 2011, John Gruden. Jake Locker reminds me of a young Rich Gannon. He's a throwback who would play without a face mask. Titans should draft him.
Well, that's true. He would play without a face mask because he was dumb as shit.
Right. Here we go. Ready for this one? This is not a quarterback, and I'm going to ask you collectively, something is wrong with that cow or bull. John Gruden comparing Detroit's second-round pick Oklahoma wide receiver Ryan Broyles to former Raiders wide receiver Tim Brown. Does anyone know who Ryan Broyles is? Because he's no longer in the league.
Was he ever in the league?
He was in the league for a year.
Wow.
2013, John Gruden. I like Whedon. I really do. I think he can flourish in Norv Turner's offense. He liked Whedon coming out last year. He didn't flourish in Cleveland. Sorry, guys. And I think this is the last one. Yep, last one I have. ESPN analyst John Gruden on former Penn State quarterback Christian Hackenberg. I'll be shocked if he doesn't go in the first round. Christian Hackenberg couldn't even crack a starting job with the Jets. And that's when they had Sanchez and it was a whole
They're
bunch
in the middle
of...
of butt fumble time.
Right. John Gruden is I don't know about this whole,
John Gruden never met a player he didn't think was going to be a Hall of Famer.
And that's where some of this is kind of skewed because he's never said a bad thing about anybody.
Right.
But the fact is, when he praised people, he praised them from his heart. Like it's what he meant.
Yeah.
If he had something bad to say about someone, he just didn't say it.
Yeah.
He had that old, golden rule going on for football scouting. But so there's all of that, and
again, I come back to John Gruden probably is style over substance.
Yeah.
He's got the Chucky look. He's got the
TJ's right. Hackenberg could even steal the job away from Geno Smith, and John says your 49ers have a more promising future.
Yes.
Bingo.
Give you that one.
He's got the Chucky look. He's got the Chucky attitude. He's got the cool little sayings. We all watched the football camps with Spider 2Y Banana, and laughed at all that, and him grilling all these quarterbacks and coming out and you can go back and look at every single one of them, whether it's Hackenberg or whether it was Cam Newton. This guy's going to be a star.
Yep.
I see a lot of potential in this kid. He's got a big arm. He's smart enough. He runs the offense real well. He's got a good grasp of all that was every single episode of that show.
Basically, what that reminded me of him sitting at the table just jerking him off.
Yeah.
The other thing, and you mentioned it, it's the way he grills quarterbacks. If you ever go back to anything in the NFL Films Archive and watch any Raider game that was soundbitten, had sound bites, or Tampa Bay games, he's fucking R2-D2. He has more words beeped out on the sidelines than any other coach I've ever heard in my life. And I heard this come up too somewhere that, and actually I brought this up on Corner Pub Sports Show the other night. They had me call in and talk about this from a West Coast perspective. And John Gruden is the NFL coach's potty mouth. He's the sailor on the sidelines, right? He doesn't have any restriction. He's very vulgar. He's very in your face. He's a matter-of-fact guy that he wants to get things done. And that
he's a down-home dude. And Raider fans love that kind of guy.
But Raider fans right now have a quarterback who is arguably, by terms of his faith, the next Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
He is very devout Christian. He is very religious. He's very soft-spoken. He doesn't take kindly to...
He stops on the side of the road and helps guys with their car is broken
Right.
down and gives them a ride.
Vulgarity doesn't sit well
Yeah.
with David or Derek Carr.
No.
What's going to happen the first time that Gruden rips into him and just starts F-bombing the crap out of him? Is he going to lose respect for him? Are they gonna have a situation where they maybe don't get along because Gruden doesn't respect that? Or are they going to, is that going to force Gruden to change? And maybe he's different now. I mean, maybe not being able to swear for the last 10 years has helped him. But is that going to be a volatile situation for a coach and his quarterback? Because let's be real, the Raiders don't do well and the Vikings don't do well if Gruden doesn't have the relationship he has with Brad Johnson
The Buccaneers.
What did I say?
Vikings.
Oh yeah, Brad Johnson used to play for the Vikings. That's where I was going with. It couldn't go well with Johnson and Gruden without those two having a good relationship. And is that going to cause a rift in Oakland if Carr can't accept that part? And I mean, this guy's one of the biggest Christians on the planet, right? And he's going to get F-bombed all day long on Sundays. What's up, Patrick? We're talking about your boys.
I'm going to give Gruden a little bit of a pass.
You think
here.
he'll respect that?
I've been through it, and no, I'm not saying anything like I'm on the caliber of a coach of John Gruden or an NFL coach, but in coaching swimming and being around athletes, even though they were kids, it was a different time, and I was kind of about the same time. I quit coaching in the late 90s and started back up in 2010. So I had about a 14 or 15 year layoff of not coaching. In that time, I went from somebody who threw clipboards, who yelled and screamed and broke kickboards and things like that, because that's what you did. And I
would love to be a swimming coach and just have like a weighted clipboard, throw it and hit the water, big old splash to get
I had a metal clipboard, and I'd slam it down on the starting blocks until I broke a starting block, and then it cost me a lot of money. You grow up.
Yeah.
And I think that Gruden was, I want to say he was in his late 30s when he was coaching.
Yeah.
So he's probably in his late 40s, early 50s right now. There's a lot of growing up that happens. And I can see that's probably the one aspect of Chucky that I can see changing is him being able to respect what the beliefs of others are.
I hope so.
And what's the norm. I mean, it's not the norm now. Now, if they're throwing F-bombs, it's like you and I do. We throw an F-bomb here and there just for a little bit of, I don't know, because we can't think of another word. I think that in coaching nowadays, that model isn't accepted.
Let me ask you this then, because when Gruden was coaching, and this isn't necessarily a football thing, but this is more of a generational thing. The generations in which that were producing football players when Gruden was playing,
absolutely
respected adults. They had a much higher respect level for people of authority. A lot of the people now, and a lot of the kids now that are coming out of high school and college that are going into the pros, because let's face it, they are all kids. That respect level isn't ingrained in them like it was before. And if Gruden, if he doesn't have that hard ass mentality, and these players are just walking all over, well, they're not going to walk all over.
They're not going to walk,
but
because he's got $100 million behind him.
But if they don't respond and they don't, they don't react the way that they did in the past, do you think that could be a trigger for Gruden to where he reverts back and maybe loses some of his locker room? Because let's put it this way, all the people now that are coming out of sports, because it's the generation of the participation trophy, they don't have that hard edge on. I shouldn't say all. A lot of coaches still try to instill that in kids, but there's so many things now in colleges and in high school where if you yell at my kid, you're going to lose your job. So there's a lot of softer players coming out, and they have to learn that toughness.
Well, there's a way to do it. There's a way that you can get away with doing it. And in the past, somebody like Gruden would just yell the crap out of you and expect you to, to go, I'm going to show him. I'm going to play that much better. Well, now you yell at a kid, they're going to go crumple up in the corner.
Right.
And I think that even transcends into the NFL, where what you do is you yell at them, and then you go over and you put your arm around them and say, look, here's what I was doing. And I don't know if he can do that. If he can, he's going to be all right.
Right.
I don't see the relationship, and the players all know who he is. They all watch Monday Night Football. They all know who he is. They all have seen his background.
You would hope.
Yeah. I would think that's the one thing that – and he's maintained contact with athletes. Mm-hmm. So he's been interviewing them. He's been doing his Fired Football Coaches Association film things that he's been doing. He's gonna know how to address those kids. And I think that's the one thing that I think he's going to be all right with is being able to relate to the kids.
Pat, I'm going to get to that in a second.
Relate to how you treat athletes nowadays, because nowadays they're not going to just take your word for it. You're going to have to show them exactly why things are going to work.
Yep, and as a non-Raider fan, I hope that him and Carr can coexist. I really want to.
I think they can. That's the one part of him coming back that I think he's going to be all right with is getting along with Carr, because I think he's got the respect.
Adam,
of
I'm
Carr.
getting to that too. I think that I want to see what Carr can do with with a coach that's quarterback friendly, because he hasn't had that yet.
Yeah.
Real quick, Adam says, I think Gruden and Lynch are going to get along splendidly. Lynch isn't going to be back. I don't see Gruden putting up with Marshawn Lynch.
No.
So you can pretty much mark that off the books. But the other thing is, I went on Facebook Live a couple days ago, the day that it was announced, and I talked about the similarities of bringing back John Gruden with what the Sacramento Kings are doing with Vlade Divac as their general manager. That whole Band-Aid thing, right? And this is going to bridge the Oakland fans from next season for 2 years through the move to Vegas, and then it's going to bring in those fringe fans that are in Vegas those first couple years in Vegas. Like, oh, shit, we got John Gruden back. Okay, cool, we're on board. It's going to be that bridge gap between the transition, and it's going to keep the excitement up. Well, that hasn't really worked in Sacramento. I hope it works better for the Raiders because it's been a train wreck here. But the other thing is that I'm worried about is the expenditure of that, the expansion of that, because Sacramento, they brought in Vlade Divac, and then he brought in Peja Stojakovic as a GM for the Bighorns, and then all of a sudden Doug Christie's on the radio, and Bobby Jackson's on TV, and Doug Christie's on TV, and they're doing all these things to bridge that early 2000s success. Now, coincidentally, the Raiders' last success was in 2002 as well. It's the same year as the Kings,
right.
So it kind of bridges itself. But there's reports that John Gruden is going to bring in Rich Gannon as his quarterbacks coach. It's another link to the past. It's another like, hey, look, feel good about this, because if it doesn't work out, it'll be okay. And then there's another report, because someone ran across Charles Woodson in an airport on the way to the game last night and said, hey, has John Gruden contacted you about coaching for the Raiders? And his response was, never say never. How many non-coaches could he possibly bring in to make the Raider fans feel good about bringing him back? Like that right there in itself could be a recipe for disaster.
Oh, yeah.
You have to make sure you haven't coached in 10 years. Don't bring in a whole cast of rookie coaches.
Well, look at it this way. So what's Mark Davis's? Mark Davis needs to get through 2 years. He needs to get through 2 years of season tickets with in basically as a lame duck. And
Adam, I don't think he brings him back. Lynch can say what he wants.
No,
he wants to play more
back
in Oakland. That's fine. But I don't think that they'll get the same player in Marshawn Lynch with a coach that will demand respect from his players. Yeah. You're not going to get dancing Lynch. You're not going to. You may get sitting Lynch because he's done that for his whole career, and I don't think Gruden will. He'll step on his toes for that belief of his. But I just don't think you're going to get a productive Marshawn Lynch out of a John Gruden system. I think he's going to want to get a young kid in there. He's going to get a quarterback in there. And the thing is, we talked about this with the 49ers. They have Jimmy Garoppolo now, and players are wanting to come in and play with Garoppolo. Big name wide receivers have already been contacting their agents about playing in San Francisco or in Santa Clara. Well, Barnum's not on. We don't have to clarify that. But I think players are going to be excited about coming to Oakland and wanting to play for John Lynch. I keep saying that, John Gruden. So, I don't think you're going to need to bring in a Marshawn Lynch again. You're going to be able to get another running back that's going to be like, fuck, I'm going to play for Gruden and the Raiders organization. Yeah, let's go there. So I don't think they're going to have to run that risk on bringing back Marshawn. Let Marshawn go play somewhere else.
Yeah.
If he wants to play another year, let him go play another year. But it's not going to be in Oakland.
They're going to play for Cleveland and Belichick.
Right. I could see him going to New England and Belichick.
Yeah. And again, just kind of to finish my thought.
So Pat, I hope that answers your question about. I mean, yeah, I've heard the reports of him coming in as quarterback coach Rich Gannon, but I think that's just another potentially damning move to that franchise. They need to bring in established coaches. Sure, bring him in as an advisor to the quarterback. Bring him in as an assistant, to the coach on another level, but don't have him as the bona fide quarterbacks coach, and don't have Woodson be your secondary coach. And I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to bring in a former linebacker to come in and do? Are they going to bring in Napoleon Kaufman out of the church and let him be the running backs coach? I mean, how many former players can you bring in before it turns into a joke? Is what I'm concerned about for the Raiders.
So can I finish my thought now?
Yes, you can. Sorry.
Okay.
What's up, James?
Again, I think Davis has one goal, and he needs to get through selling tickets
Asses in
for
seats
for the next 2 years. This is going to do it.
I'll say he's an idiot.
Because what it's done, it's bought him a free year because everybody's going to buy tickets to want to go see.
Oh, hell yeah.
See Gruden, and doesn't matter how he does. He could go 4-12. It's not going to matter. The second year, people are going to say, "Okay, I want to go and see this because he better do a good job." Well, all of a sudden, you've gotten yourself through your 2 years in Oakland. That might be worth to Davis, who's dumb as shit. That might be worth $100 million.
I'll say he's an idiot.
Last thought on the Raiders real quick, because we have 13 minutes to get into the weekend games. You're about to leave the city that has supported you and made you your money, and you agree to allow your team to have a home game in London next season. Why the fuck are you going to take away a home game from a franchise that's about to leave the city you're in? Fucking idiot, dude.
Because you don't care.
Right. That makes him a stupid shit.
You don't care.
All in with the Saints, says James. Bills, Jags about to start. Who you guys got? I have Jacksonville in that game. Let's get to those games real quick here. Wild card day 1. We'll just go through them really fast.
I'm 0-2, by the way.
So am I. So is TJ. TJ took all the home teams.
I had LA as being a potential Super Bowl team.
I put LA in my Super Bowl. And that wasn't a knock on Atlanta. I have a few friends that are Atlanta fans. I just thought that LA was just playing on all sorts of different levels,
absolutely.
and they shit the bed. Kansas City versus KC.
So before
KC
we
versus
get
Tennessee, sorry.
What do you think Andy Reid's potential of getting fired?
Fired, 100% fired. Gone.
Think so?
Yep. I don't think he'll be there again next year.
I think Alex Smith is gone too.
I don't know about that one. Alex Smith may go to Cleveland.
I could see him and Belichick teaming up in Cleveland.
Yeah, for a couple years and develop a young guy.
Yeah.
But Andy Reid can't win big games. He
never has.
It shows.
He never has.
I have a lot of friends that were like, "Oh, there's that Alex Smith you guys love so much in San Francisco." Smith played a damn good game. It wasn't great, but it's not anything you put the loss on. That defense stopped showing up at halftime. The wide receivers, once Kelsey went down, that wide receiver core quit. They were like, we can't win this game. They had like 7 drops in the second half.
And they quit running the ball,
They quit running the ball. Adam, I could see Alex Smith being Big Ben's replacement. Again, Alex Smith and Antonio Brown, that's another good combination.
Yeah. Alex Smith's a pretty good quarterback.
He is. I absolutely think Alex Smith
about a
could be
dude
in
that's
Cleveland. He'd be great there as a mentor for a young QB. I think I would put
Talk about a dude that's never had any good luck with anything.
right. I can see Alex Smith and Pittsburgh working out, especially if Ben. Let's say Ben gets hurt in these playoffs, and he'll be done. If he doesn't have a good playoff, if they don't win the Super Bowl, he's done. I don't see him coming back and putting himself through that again.
Yeah.
Mariota yesterday silenced some critics though. Mariota rallied that team back from down 21-3. He threw 3 touchdowns, one to himself, which was remarkable.
I still haven't had a chance to see that play yet.
Smith and Brown, come on, man. No, I think it could be. I think Alex Smith could be a serviceable quarterback under Mike Tomlin's system.
I think so too.
Other than that, I'd have to wait and look at other quarterbacks that could come in and fill in for Big Ben, because I don't think you guys have a backup right now that you're comfortable with just giving the reins to. But if Ben retires, let's say Big Ben retires and you get a decent quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round. Alex Smith is a perfect stopgap guy to come in and let that young guy develop. You don't necessarily want to throw a rookie quarterback into the mix in that division. That division's too strong to just throw a guy out there.
And Pittsburgh's too strong.
Yeah.
They're too close to being they're top 2 team. So they got to bye this week.
Right.
So you don't want to take somebody and just throw a rookie into it.
Absolutely.
Somebody like Smith, who's been around a while, he'd be a great fit. I like
think
that
he'd
idea.
be
Love
because
that idea.
you don't need him to win games. He has the weapons to win. You don't need him to be the guy that goes in and lights up everything. He can go in there and manage games because that would be the biggest star-studded team that Alex Smith has ever had.
Oh, absolutely.
And you go in and you let him be that game manager, and which he's not really a game manager anymore. That title was on him in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You let him go in there and be a good quarterback with those weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, Antonio Brown, he's out of this world. Le'Veon Bell, out of this world if they can get him signed next year. Juju Smith-Schuster, that kid's going to be special. You have weapons up and down the board, and that defense, even losing James Harrison, is going to be a powerhouse for another year or two.
Yeah.
Alex Smith would slide in there, and I guarantee you that Pittsburgh wouldn't lose much of a beat.
No, not at all.
The other game was the Rams and the Falcons. The Rams, like I said, I had them penciled into the Super Bowl this year. They looked bad. They looked young. They look inexperienced. They had 3 turnovers on special teams, 2 in the first half. And the Vikings, or I keep saying the fucking Vikings, they play next week. The Falcons, while they're not at that quality of offense that Sarkisian brings, they're really starting to find their stride, and Matt Ryan's finding his stride. And what a better time! Hey, it's the playoffs now. We're going to start getting the ball.
I think that experience that they've been through the last couple of years, over the last 5 years, they've been through a lot, and it almost came together last year.
Yep.
And so I think they know how to, like Chris Berman used to say, circle the wagons and really get ready for the playoffs. And I think I've changed my mind, and I think Atlanta's going to be somebody to deal with.
There's really not another powerhouse. And I mean, the Saints are playing really good ball. They're going to hopefully get through Carolina today.
But they don't have a lot of playoff experience.
Yeah, but they have Drew Brees. So the second game, like I said, was the Rams. They shot themselves in the foot. They didn't look good at all. But they're going to be back. But is their window already slightly closing because of what San Francisco could potentially put together for next season?
No, not at all.
I don't mean closed as in they're not going to be a contender, but now they're going to have competition.
But competition makes you better.
Right. They're not going to run through the NFC West like they did this year.
Competition's going to make you a better team, and what's going to happen?
Fun.
What's going to happen is both those teams are going to end up being a force in the NFC.
And I can't wait for that.
That's going to be
awesome.
awesome.
Imagine both of those teams in week
awesome.
15 or 16 or 17 when something's on the line, or both of them making the playoffs.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh, that's going to be. I think the NFC West next year is going to be the AFC West of this year. Teams are going to be. There's going to be, the NFC South. Damn near every team made the playoffs this year. I think the NFC West is going to be very similar to that next year as well.
I think so too.
Today is in like 5 minutes. It starts Jacksonville and Buffalo in Jacksonville. It's a really good feel-good story. I think table makers in Buffalo are hitting all-time numbers this week because the Bills Mafia is busting through tables like crazy while they celebrate. I think this is going to be a good game for the first quarter and a half, and then Jacksonville's going to run away with it.
Yeah. McCoy's too hurt. I mean,
McCoy's not playing.
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
Yeah.
They said earlier in the week he wasn't going to play.
They said he's going to be about 70 to 80%.
Which, I mean, it's still a good quarter. It's still a good running back, but I just think Fournette's too much of a force for Buffalo's defense, and Blake Bortles has the biggest chip on his shoulder that I think any quarterback's had in a number of years, and he wants to come in there and prove that this is his team to lead, and he'll be there next year. And I think Jacksonville is going to be a good spot. I'm excited to watch Marquise Lee play today because I think he'll be a 49er next year. And I want to see what this kid can do. So I have Jacksonville winning that game.
Yeah.
And the second game is, I think, going to be the game of the weekend, and that's going to be Carolina and the Saints.
Oh, that's be a great
that game is going to be amazing. I have pretty much cleared my schedule to make sure I'm home for that evening game tonight. I want to watch every moment of that game if I can. That game, Drew Brees, I mean, this is his make or break for his time in New England. If he doesn't show up and produce, I don't think he has a ray of hope to come back. If he comes in and lights up Carolina and lights up these playoffs, and you get another NFC matchup, a potential South matchup with the Saints and Falcons, let's say, in the championship game, I think that's going to be remarkable. and great for the NFL. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think the Saints somehow pull this game off. Well, I shouldn't say somehow. The Saints pull this game off. Carolina just isn't. They're not that 2015 Carolina. I heard a lot of people say, oh, well, they're starting to look like that team. That team was on another planet, and they fell hard back to reality last year by winning 6 games.
Right.
Cam Newton and that squad is not the same squad. They have a lot of work to do, and I think the Saints end up pulling that one off.
Well, I think Carolina's relying on Cam Newton's legs too much right now.
Right.
And the Saints swept him in the regular season. That's the only thing.
It's hard to beat a
Yeah,
team
and
3
I was
times.
just going to say, that's the one thing that gives Carolina a little bit of hope is it's damn hard to beat somebody 3 times in 1 year, and
Right.
and they can do that.
The other thing is, so my pick for the Super Bowl was the Rams. Obviously, that was bad. Who do you think, based on the teams now that are left? Because I think you had the Rams penciled in high. You didn't have them going to the Super Bowl.
I didn't have them going. I think I had the Vikings going.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know about Case Keenum. I just don't know. He's not.
that's going to be a hell of a feel-good story, though, if he does it.
Yeah, if he does, yeah, absolutely. I just don't know that he's got the experience to carry a team to the Super Bowl. So right now, it's hard to.
I still have Jacksonville. I want a feel-good story in the AFC. I want to see Jacksonville in there. I really find it hard. I find it hard to root against Pittsburgh, though, going to the Super Bowl.
You know what? I was thinking exactly the same thing.
If I have a want team to be there, it's Jacksonville and Minnesota, because I think those
Right.
would be two amazing. That would be an amazing. That 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl is usually the most bullshit time on TV ever.
Yeah.
If we have Jacksonville, Minnesota, that will make for good lead up.
You know what that means, though? So if we have Jacksonville, Minnesota, that means we don't have New England. And if New England doesn't make the Super Bowl, can you imagine the shitstorm that's going to be
That's
going
gonna
on
be
for
another
2 weeks?
story. It's
That's
gonna
going to
be
be a great story for 2 weeks.
But if I have to pick teams that I think, my gut tells me that are going to be there, I have the Saints and the Steelers in the Super Bowl, and I think that would make for a fucking amazing Super Bowl as well, because you have the uncertainty of Drew Brees. What's he going to do? The story, the storied history there that he has with them, and you have the uncertainty of Big Ben. What quarterback is gonna either go out on top with their current team, or are they going to play another year because they reached the pinnacle again? I think those are two good teams. But so, like I said, if we have, let's do this. Let's do a want and a gut for our picks, because I can't split the two.
Okay, the want for me on the AFC side, and this is going to be kind of a cop out, is anybody but New England.
Pick a goddamn team, Barossa.
My want would be Jacksonville. I would like to see that. I think it would be cool. I think my gut is Pittsburgh.
All right, and so I'm the same way. I have want, gut, Pittsburgh, but like I said, I have the Saints. No, I'm sorry. I have Minnesota as my want team in the NFC, and I have the gut team as New Orleans.
And my only change would be, I think my want team would be the Vikings. My gut team is the Falcons. I think they're just
redemption.
Yeah, I think they're playing. Last night they look good. They look really good on all phases. So
40 seconds. 50
yeah,
seconds.
I can definitely see that it could be Atlanta.
I'll tell you one thing, though. If we have a New Orleans firing at all cylinders and a Pittsburgh team firing at all cylinders, it could easily go down as one of the most explosive Super Bowls in the history of the game.
I think you can interchange Atlanta and New Orleans, and
Yeah.
I think that could be one and the same thing.
Yeah, but I want to see Kamara on a big stage. That kid, the Niners almost drafted him, by the way, a couple years.
Well, of course,
2 years
we
ago.
almost drafted a lot of guys.
Right. That's the Kings, too. So, all right, guys, episode 234 is in the books. Go watch some
Yay.
football. We appreciate you guys joining us nice and early. It still is early. It's 10:09 here on the West Coast. If you missed the whole thing in its entirety, we'll be looped back on Wildfire Sports on Tuesday at noon.
Good night, Larry.
Bye, guys.